Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday night's Fools Rush In. The artist now known as part-time Fyfie back on hosting duties tonight, apparently, and hopefully going to do it up to somewhere near the standard that Woody did on Friday. If you haven't seen it, it has to be said the earlier show on OSC with Simon Cox was a really good listen. So once we finished, I would strongly recommend you go back and listen to that if you haven't already done so. But we've got a very busy show. We've got a draw with the league leaders to review with a panel of regulars, and we have 3 very special guests from Swindon Town Women kicking us off. But before all that, let's roll the titles.
Take my hand, take my whole life too. But I can't help falling in love with you.
Swindon Town into the promised land.
Let's start by saying hello to a couple of regulars to the Fools panel, as we start by saying hello and good evening to Woody. How are you, pal?
Good evening. Not too bad. Not too bad. I've one of those where I'm kind of glad the weekend's over, and the Fools are going to impress me with everything this week, and start my week off well. Absolutely buzzing for the 3 we've managed to get on as well. So
it can't be understated how hard you've worked for us today. That's for sure. But before
to be asking for a pay rise.
Well, do you know what? You're worth every penny I pay you so far. I have to say as well, fantastic job you did Friday night. I'm always impressed when you guys step into hosting duties, but the fact that you even went as far as decorative spreadsheet screenshots was a whole new level of entertainment for Fools.
I know. I've had that idea for the last time I hosted as well. I was planning to host, and I never got round to it. But I thought this one was just the perfect opportunity because it's under so much scrutiny at the moment. So I'm not going to lie, I'm quite proud of that. It might even be CVable.
Mike already, technical problem. Is your round light reflecting in your glasses, new Fyfie? I presume he means new glasses, Fyfie, and they're just the wrong way around. It doesn't look like it on my screen, but if they are, I can try and dim it down a little bit more if it's distracting, or change the color. I'm sure. See if that helps at all. In the meantime, evening Danny as well, who's joining us. Good to have you with us. Let's say hello to Rich. How are you, pal?
Evening, mate. How are you?
Very well. Did you enjoy your trip this weekend?
It was a good day out in the capital. Yeah, it was. I think you'll get my views on it a little bit later on. I can assure you there'll be probably a little bit different to most of the panel. But yeah, no, it was a good day out. More than less, good to be with a couple of the other fools as well.
Yeah, there was a couple of you out there, wasn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
I was also in the capital, but sadly not at Leyton Orient, and I've come back with injuries, so I really wish that
we did as well. We did as well, celebrating that equaliser. So join the club.
I'm glad that worked. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Evening to Garth and to Sean as well. We have a couple more panelists joining a bit later, but as we have so many special guests, they've agreed to sit out just for a little bit so we can give them the screen time they deserve. Let's start by saying hello and welcome, all making their Fools debuts. First to Anna. Welcome to Fools Rush In.
Hiya, thank you.
As we were saying, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it massively.
Yeah, of course. I was looking forward to it.
And as far as we understand, start of a busy week for you three, as it's not your only podcast appearance this week. So we're just the warm-up act.
Yeah, I've got one on Wednesday, I think.
Let's next say hello and welcome to Charlie. Good evening and welcome to Fools Rush In.
Hi, guys.
Thank you as well for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I've been looking forward to it, yeah.
And also joining us, last but certainly not least, we have Mia. Good evening, Mia. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well. And thanks to you as well for taking time out of your evening to join us.
Thank you for having me.
So, if I can, let me start by asking, and I'll come to you first. I read the posts that went out from Swindon Town Women after you signed, and it was very similar for Mia's, and it said that the club is different from when you were last here. And we're going to we'll obviously talk about various elements, but initially, what is so different, and what sort of prompted the now to come back?
I think obviously I was there last season, and there was a small link with the men's team, but it wasn't as it is now. Seeing the girls already play 2 games at the county ground is incredible to see. So just seeing that bond get stronger with the men's team is lovely to see, and hopefully it will get stronger years go on. I've heard some rumours about how next year will go, so hopefully they will stick to the hopeful rumours.
Well, no, that's certainly the plan. There's been a real attitude change, I think, to the whole promotion of the package of Swindon Town Women. I think is the right way to put it. I mean, I know, and we say all the time, don't we, Woody, that we made a point of making sure we speak about it and we highlight, fixtures, etc., and team news. But there's been a real emphasis on it, a lot more than in other seasons.
Yeah, definitely. I think last season this wouldn't have happened, us being on a podcast and us be on 2 this week. A massive step for women's football in general. So yeah, just to get our names out there, the club's name is amazing.
Mia, is it the same? It's obviously been a little bit longer since you were at Swindon Town Women, but since you've been back, what have you noticed have been some of the fundamental changes?
Well, it's very similar to what Anna said, really. I just think there's been so much change in the club and going more for that professionalism, and with getting the link in with the men's team and stuff. I think it is something that has been trying to be done for a long time, but now to see it actually happen, it's good to see, and it's good to be a part of it. And
then Charlie, for you, you obviously come from Forest Green, where, as I understand, you had what was a fairly good goal scoring record of late. Is it a chance now to kind of make that step to the next level and prove it again?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for me to test myself in the higher tier. Obviously, having watched Swindon for a while in the background, waiting for my chance, I know that their attacking options are really good, and he puts them away just as well as I do. So it's nice to have some competition and sort of have someone to work with and learn from.
So what I tend to do when we have guests on from Swindon Town Women, particularly the first time, is start by asking and sort of what got you into football in the first place. So, and if I could start with you, was there a particular moment that you kind of knew you wanted to pursue football, or anyone that inspired you to do so?
I remember when I was at primary school, I think I was like 9 years old, there was a leaflet going around at school with boys when he needed players. So that's how I got into football. I think my dad pushed it, which I'm happy for. He loved me playing sport. He threw me into any sport he could, but yeah, football, he loved me playing it. So I think he's probably the most influential person to push my football in. Playing abilities. So yeah, my dad probably.
And Charlie?
Yeah, similar really. I played with boys when I was really young. All of my mum's friends had little boys, so I ended up just playing naturally with them. And similarly, again, my dad was always really keen to keep me involved. He'd drive me up and down the country multiple times a week to make sure I had the best opportunities playing wherever it meant that I was going to get the best opportunity and best development. So yeah, really grateful for my parents. Both of them have done a really good job at keeping me interested.
And was it a similar story for you as well, Mia?
Yeah, I was playing football in the playground with the boys at school, and my teacher told me to join Swindon Spitfires. So then I went ahead and trained, and I loved it and never stopped since.
I'm going to stick with you if I can, Mia, because obviously you've come back over from America. Is that, if you don't mind me asking, is that a long-term situation, or is that just a short-term?
Yeah, it's at the moment it's a long-term situation, but you never know what's going to happen, I guess.
No, absolutely not. And obviously you've not been back over long, but what are some of the differences between sort of women's football in America to over here? I feel, at least as an outsider, it's a lot more popular over there, and we're still growing it in this country.
Yeah, it's really weird actually. Like, if you play like college level, obviously it's like it's really big. Like, all college sports are massive over there, and it's just like you never really know where to go after college level. Whereas like here you have that opportunity to play, whereas over there you don't unless you're playing like professionally, and if you're drafted and stuff. So there's more opportunities to play here after college level.
Okay, interesting. And so if we can then, and while I'm asking you the question, I'll start with you this time round. Could you talk us through your sort of football journey, the teams you've played for, etc.?
Okay, so I started off playing for Swindon Spitfires when I was 7, and I played there for a few years, and then I moved to Wiltshire, and then that was the point where I couldn't play for like another team alongside Wiltshire. So once the Wiltshire team ended, I think I joined Highworth, and then I did Swindon Centre of Excellence, and I also played for an Oxford team. Trying to think now. I played for Reading Centre of Excellence for a little bit, but I didn't really enjoy that one. And then I think after that I came back and just played for Swindon, and since under 15s I've played for Swindon Town Women.
And for anyone who isn't as familiar with all of you, I'll ask you all the questions. Well, how would you describe your, how you play? What sort of position? What sort of player are you?
I would say for me, I've played like many positions ever since I started playing. I used to play right wing, but then as I got older, I wasn't actually that fast. So I'll leave that to the faster people. So now I play like a attacking mid or forward. So that's my position.
Mike has sent in a question for you, which I'll just flash up on the screen there. Did you experience in the States see your game improve as much as the impact it had on Meg Attenborough?
Yeah, I did actually. It's I think over there they're very high on fitness, more than like the technical and tactical side. And I think when I went out there, I did get a lot fitter than what I was before I left. So I think that made a massive help in my game.
And is there anything anything you took from your time out there that you think translates back when you come over? Because there are, although, you know, people will say football's the same game wherever you play it, but there are different ways of doing it in different countries. And, you know, is there certain bits that you think will work just as well, or you'd have to adapt coming back?
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything that I would need to adapt in that side of the game. I think that at the end of the day, football's football. So yeah. It's not like a massive difference in between the games. Like obviously there's a few different rules, but it's nothing major, you know.
Cool. No, brilliant. And Charlie, then the same question for you. Can you kind of talk us through your footballing background?
Yeah, so as I said, I started playing at Tuffley Rovers with my mum's friends' little boys, really local side to me. I grew up in Tuffley. I went to school with all the boys. One of the boys' dads was the coach, so it was just the kind of easy thing to do as a extracurricular activity. I then stopped playing football until I went to secondary school. I think I was told I wasn't allowed to play with the boys when I turned about 11. And then I started to play again at around 12, 13 when I started secondary school. I joined Abbeymead Rovers, who were another local Gloucester side, a little bit lower down the leagues. Really enjoyed it, made some really good friends there. I then moved to Forest Green Rovers. I was probably I think it was the under 15s I was in when I started. Enjoyed my time there. When I was 16, they gave me my senior debut. And in that season, I was top goal scorer, won the Golden Boot, and we were promoted, which was a really, really fond memory of my time at Forest Green. Sort of in between that, I joined the Centre of Excellence the same time as Mia. We went to Sweden and went to the Gothia Cup together. Another really happy experience, and it's definitely was something in the back of my mind when I was choosing whether or not to sign under Lally at Swindon, that having those positive memories of playing under Swindon at that age definitely swayed me a little bit.
Absolutely, they would do. And then Anna, again, the same for you, if I can.
Yeah, I started off playing boys football at a club called Churchtown Panthers. In between then, I stayed with them till I was 16. But I also played girls football at the same time, so I'd have to rush from Sunday morning with the girls and Sunday afternoon with the boys. So I used to play for Gloucester City and also Cheltenham Town. When I started playing ladies football, I started off at Cheltenham. Then halfway through that season, I moved to Swindon, and then was there till I was 19. So last season, had a short spell at Plymouth Argyle. Just came back now.
Can I ask you actually on the Plymouth? Your time at Plymouth. Obviously, we've been talking for a long time about Swindon women games at Foundation Park and the County Ground, and you were part of the Plymouth team that got to play at the County Ground. So I imagine for you that was just as special as for a lot of the, you know, the Swindon women's side at the time that we've spoken to about it.
Yeah, it was obviously lovely to play there. Obviously not in a red and white strip, but because I remember last season we meant to play Exeter, I think, but unfortunately got cancelled weather. So to play there, obviously against girls, wasn't ideal, but it was still a special moment, and to see the girls after a while of not seeing them. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable game.
And so, what's the? You said you were kind of sold partly on the ambition and the plans for not just the end of this season, but for next season and onwards. So what's kind of your ambition now you're back, Anna? How far do you think you and the team can go?
Obviously, promotion's a big one. It'll be hard to. It's probably impossible this season, but next season, I mean, we've done way better this season than we did last season. So just keep pushing for bigger and better results, I guess, and hopefully push to Tier 3 football.
And would you? I mean, it seems an obvious question to ask, but would you like to see obviously more games where possible played at the county ground with slightly bigger crowds again?
Yeah, 100%. I think the crowd is a big one to have behind you. I think you just play that extra little bit better, the noise and the cheering from the fans. So to have that is just a special moment that I'm sure none of us probably imagined when we were playing in our local team. So to have that is a special moment to play a little bit better. And
me, and same for you. Sort of, how far do you think you personally can go with Swindon Town Women? And again, I presume your ambitions for the team are just the same. Look towards promotion next year.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see how it goes. Obviously, same as Anna. Like, I know this season it's probably not possible, but I'm just looking forward to seeing like next season how far we can go, and I just want to see everyone do well.
No, 100%. It seems exciting times, Charlie.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to look forward to. Like as Anna's mentioned, the plans for next season seem really exciting. Not to write ourselves off for this season. We go into every game looking for the 3 points and want to move up the table, like every team does. But I think with the new additions of us three and the quality of the team that were there already, we've got every chance of picking up a fair few points now at the end of the season.
And Woody, let me bring you in at this point. That'll be the important thing, isn't it? We're talking to these three now, and you can hear how positive they are about the whole situation. We've spoken to a few members of the squad over the course of this season who have been equally as positive and looking to end the season strong and see where it takes them, really, riding the crest of a wave almost.
Yeah, and I think I think I mentioned when these guys were put over the line, so to speak, that it was it's almost a sign of intent, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously Charlie's record speaks for itself, Mia and Anna, and I think the squad is just genuinely getting a lot stronger now, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to the players that were there before, because as I said at the beginning of the season, I think the squad that they had at the beginning of the season, was, arguably a top 4, top 5 finish. So, but yeah, and I think, but hearing those guys' stories, especially with all due respect, Charlie's and Anna's, in terms of just that recognition from the club will attract players. I have to be honest, I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I was almost kind of expecting kind of summer to start seeing players signing on. Especially, I know obviously for Charlie, it's challenging yourself at a higher level, but where you've come from Forest Green, who are another club that do, from my knowledge, back their women's team quite well. I mean, you work for them as well, so you've kind of got the conflict there as well, I guess. But because I noticed that Nick asked a message about the meat side of it. And I know that even every kind of ethos, I believe, that Forest Green have, they pass down. I mean, we had vegan food when we finished the game yesterday with Bassett, and it's so that that's what you kind of need from I think from Forest Green's perspective. I think they need to be playing at the stadium, but either way, it's good to hear that players are now getting interested a lot more in Swindon. Obviously, Anna's come back from a Tier 3 side. Mia's come back from America, and maybe the first thought, I hope the first thought is, I'm going to go hopefully play for Swindon. So yeah, it's exactly what we want as a club. And, and I've said all along, I don't want to make this about me, but even with me leaving the club, I'm still a fan. I still want to see the women's club progress and all of that. So it's just refreshing to see, to be totally honest. I think. And it's a really, really competitive side there. Mike, I was chatting to Mike Dixon, funnily enough, and we were saying, like, the competition, as Charlie mentioned, that there is in that forward line now is unbelievable, to be totally honest, at this, even at Tier 4 level. Even when you look at teams like, in my opinion, like Moneyfields and other teams in that league, they've kind of got maybe one or two good strikers, but now we're talking the front line. You know, you could name two good front lines that are going to be really effective in the game now at Swindon. So it's great news. I mean, I was obviously well chuffed to see these guys come over the line. I was really chuffed with Charlie getting over the line because I thought that might hinder the game yesterday, but it clearly didn't. But no, yeah. But either way, it's and you know, if unfortunately I don't know loads about you, Charlie, but obviously I've always admired the way for the last couple of seasons that Forest Green play. So if you've been a part of that and you've decided to push yourself better, I think it's going to be. It only brings good promise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
One of the things we tried to get across, and it was interesting hearing the slight differences between the three of you. So, and I'm going to come to you first. The other two ladies said that they stopped playing for a short period and then got back to it, whereas you sort of carried on all the way through. What is it that you think helps you to stay playing? You know, because we heard that I think it was Charlie said she got told she wasn't allowed to play. I think there was like a 12-month period from the age of 11. I think you said you weren't allowed to play. Whereas Anna, you said you just kept playing right up to about 16.
Yeah. I think obviously I wasn't told to stop boys football. I think the age kept going up as I was growing up as well. I think I remember I got to 13 and they said you had to stop boys football, but then they increased the age to 16 as I just reached 13. So to be able to continue playing boys football was good. But I also think the main thing that made me carry on playing football and not stopping was playing other sports as well. I don't feel like I ever got bored of football because I wasn't just doing football in a way. I was also playing tennis, hockey. So just to have that like a different sport each day was quite nice and refreshing. So I wasn't always playing football and slowly getting bored of it in a way.
On that, Anna, just out of interest, because obviously we all know, I'm sure, and forgive me if any of you girls have ever had it, but ACL injuries are prime in unfortunately in women's sport, just because of obviously the build up of your shape. How did you find kind of managing that injury proneness? I mean, even in the boys' game, I had boys playing for me when I was younger that played hockey, played basketball, played football, and I can guarantee you each one would get the stereotypical injury for that sport. Did you ever have to manage kind of any of those injuries?
Well, I managed to avoid injuries until I got to around 16, 17, and they all kind of hit me at once. I think it just happens when you're growing and things in your body are changing. But I think playing that loads of sports also just made me a lot stronger. As I slowly went away from a few different sports, I think I became weaker in a way. And then the injuries started happening. So maybe if I trained more in football when I was just playing football and hockey, say, I might have been a bit stronger and those injuries wouldn't have happened. So I think it's just about training your body to get used to the demands of like football. So yeah, I think the injuries slowly came as I trained less in a way.
And Mia, what about? Sorry, Fyfie, I'm taking over now.
No, it's absolutely fine.
I've let Friday get away with me when I.
You carry on.
And Mia, just because otherwise I'll forget these questions, and they could be really good questions. Obviously, you spoke about being in America. Well, I know you're in America, so I've known you for a long time. But you mentioned about the fitness side of it. What kind of injury prevention and stuff like that, if any, did you have any when you were over there in terms of? Because one thing that Swindon are doing very well, in my opinion, is looking at that injury prevention side. What kind of guidance did you have with that in America?
Funny enough, though, there was actually a lot of ACL tears in America, like a lot on my teams. But luckily, I wasn't involved in any of those injuries. So, no, we just do a lot of strength and conditioning, which I think helps a lot because it does make you stronger and less likely to hurt yourself, I guess. And we also do like things such as like yoga or and stretching and stuff, pool workouts. And obviously then we have like the trainer as well that like if we do have any like niggles or anything, like then we can go and get it fixed and hopefully just either rest it or do what they say to help prevent getting any worse.
Woody's being pulled up for breaking tradition with more than one good question in an episode.
I was just going to say, Fyfie, I've got just a
go
quick
on.
question for all three of you, really. So obviously you all talk about saying that you've basically grown up with the boys teams up into a certain age. Obviously with now the success of the Euros and obviously the World Cup coming up, and obviously all these younger girls obviously getting into the into football and basically getting into an actual team, having an actual team at an underage level. What are your thoughts on the grassroots progress that's been made over the last couple of years? If any of you want to comment on that.
I think it's really good. The fact that most leagues, most teams have a girls' team now. But also, I think me playing boys football, I'll be able to agree, developed me a lot quicker than what the girls' leagues would have been at that time. I don't think they're different, but I remember playing in my girls' league, and there'd be 2 good teams in a league of 8 teams. So you'd win 10-0 every game, other than the game you played against the other good team. So unless that's changed, I would probably still stick to boys football younger age, but I presume it is getting more competitive. So it just depends on the leagues you're in and the age the girls are at, I guess.
Okay.
Charlie, same for you, because ironically, Rich, that was my next question. It was going to be, I was going to say, Charlie, when you consider obviously your story and growing up in football, if you look at the situation now, do you feel the setup and the links for girls to be able to not just get into football but keep in football are better?
Yeah, definitely. I think similarly to Anna, I do think that playing with the boys when I was young was, it was a character building experience. The kind of chat you get from boys football, as well as the physicality of it, you didn't get from women's football. I definitely think that it helped me be a bit more robust in my game and not be afraid to take people on. And as a striker, you've got defenders running at you to get the ball off of you, and you have to have that sort of no fear aspect. And when there's a boy that's a foot taller than you running at you, it doesn't phase you when you've got a girl running at you so much. But I think I didn't have the right channels when I left, not being able to play boys football anymore. I didn't have somewhere or somebody to say, here's this club that are taking on girls of your age, of your ability, come and have a go and stay with it. It was just kind of, maybe you'll find something, or if you don't, it doesn't really matter. Whereas now, I mean, forgive me for talking about Forest Green, but they've just set up a emerging talent centre, which is absolutely incredible. What the club have achieved by bringing all those girls from the county and putting them in one area where they can all develop, and they're getting the best coaching. They're training with the women's team are just overlooking them, and they're there to give them advice, and they've got people to look up to. That's the kind of thing that I wish I had when I was a young girl, getting into football. And it's nice that I now see that there are more opportunities for young girls that get that.
No, that 100% makes sense to me anyway. And actually tapping into something Rich said, Mia, let me ask you, a lot of people, and I suppose quite rightly, look at what happened with the Lionesses and like Rich, I know the World Cup's coming up. And they say what an inspiration that will be for people getting into football. As someone already in football, I imagine it still inspires you just as much, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely it does. It just makes you want to even before every game, I obviously wanted to win and stuff, but the feeling that I got when they won, and I wasn't even on the team, it makes me want to experience that feeling, being on a team that wins, and getting something good out of all your hard work,
And is that the feeling you get from Swindon now? You're at a team that's gonna get wins, and you're gonna get that feeling plenty.
Yeah, I hope so. Absolutely.
Rich, away from the squad as it is, when you hear how confidently and positively these three talk this evening, I hope it resonates with people. I'm sure you do too. That that there is this level of positivity, and it just, even if it inspires, like coming on here tonight, 1 or 2 more people just to go to games and actually watch them play.
Yeah, and again, I think it's like we've said before, and obviously we want it to become the norm, and obviously bigger attendances, and we've started to see that all through the season. I think Newcastle, who are in the same tier, just obviously different, obviously region as Swindon, are pulling in 20,000-30,000 fans in St James's Park, which is obviously fantastic for the game. And it is another game of football at the end of the day, and I don't feel as if they should be separated from the men's game. And I think also you've got other football clubs as well in the Women's Super League, like Chelsea and Arsenal, who have got real stalemate players that are really becoming a name for themselves, and actually public icons really, and including the England women's team. So I think obviously the I'm trying to find the word, but obviously the public aspect of those figures now actually coming out and obviously telling their story and also getting more into the public eye is just obviously fantastic and inspirational for not just girls, women of all age, but also boys as well. And I don't think it'll be any time soon before that does become normal. And especially if England do well at the World Cup this year, then obviously who knows what can happen. But like I say, I don't think it's something that we should be relying on England to do well at the World Cup. I think you should just be looking at teams around you and your local teams as well.
Well, that, there's generally, some people do have that club v country debate, don't they? So if they're not into it, then supporting their local team would be the way to go anyway.
Absolutely, and I think if proper investment is actually put into to women's teams as well, and I think that's the thing that's really holding these teams back is proper investment. But I think the way that obviously Swindon have come across the last 2 seasons has been absolutely fantastic. I like to compare, because obviously I went to see quite a few of Woody's games when he was at Abingdon, just like the local feel of that team and just everything that they've done to create that atmosphere at that club was just absolutely fantastic. And I kept comparing them, and I'm thinking, if only Swindon Town can do that. And Swindon Town are a bigger club, with all due respect, Swindon Town are a bigger club than Abingdon. And at that time, Abingdon seemed like the proper club. So I think now that Swindon are starting to get up to speed a little bit now and to be the actual professional club that they should be, and actually becoming a name for themselves, and getting out there, getting their players out, like obviously the 3 girls coming on today, getting their obviously names out there, and obviously trying to bring in more fans to the football club. I think it's just going to be absolutely fantastic, and I'm really, really hoping, if not, it's not going to be a quick thing, it's not going to be an overnight thing, but with time it will happen. And I think the women's game is going to just continue to grow like it has done the past few years.
100%.
Sorry to interrupt you guys, but I'm going to have to shoot. But thank you so much for having me on.
No worries. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you so much. See you guys.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya, Charlie.
I was actually going to say I'm conscious of keeping you all too long, so I just had one last question, if I may. And it would have been relevant to Charlie as well. But both you were involved in the squad for the trip away this weekend. A positive result, and from what we understand from all the various posts on social media and stuff, a good weekend for the squad all round, on and off the pitch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It was. Oh, you go, Meg.
No. You go, Simon. You go.
Am I
Oh.
going? Oh.
Yeah.
And to finally see all the girls again, I'm sure it was nice to see everyone again. Different to what I expected. I was meant to go home that weekend to get the journey back with the girls, but to have a hotel, that's a massive step from what it was last season. But yeah, a lovely weekend, nice beach walk before the game, and I think it worked well because we played well. Everyone played well together, and we got the win in the end. So yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think we were talking. I can't remember who I was talking to, but the about kind of the difference. The staying overnight. Kind of. I don't know if you both stayed. Did you both stay or not?
Yeah.
But yeah, the there's such a difference in kind of that professionalism level. But also, I think Annie scored in the 88th minute. I think it was. Like, surely, was there at any point? I believe you guys dominated the game, but do you believe at any point that there was? I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Have we wasted our journey down, or do you genuinely think that winner was coming all the way all at some point?
Honestly, I feel like the score didn't really reflect on the game. Like, we had so many chances, and this isn't an excuse, but the pitch that we played on was actually, it was a hill, not a pitch. It was awful. But yeah, no, I think we knew it was coming because we had so many opportunities.
Do you feel the same, Anna?
Yeah, definitely. I think the attitude from in the change rooms before the game, we were like, "Oh, this isn't a wasted journey. We've got to get the win." So I don't think any of us really doubted it either. I think we were all pretty calm on the pitch until Annie scored. So there was no worry or concern whilst we were playing. I think we were going to get that final goal just before the whistle.
Given the positions of both where Swindon Town and St Austell, do you think there was a little bit of taking it for granted, really, or were you really confident going into the game that you were going to get this result?
I don't think anyone expressed overconfidence. I think you always want to be confident when you're going into a game. You want to believe in yourself, but I don't think anyone within the team or even Laddie was like, "Oh, we've got to win this game." There wasn't any pressure saying that St Austell were the dogs. I think if you go into a game like that, you're more than likely going to lose because you put too much pressure on yourself. So I think we went in there with a positive mindset, confident but not overly confident.
Love that.
Listen, thank you both very much for agreeing to come on. We really do appreciate it. We won't take up much more of your time because I know, as we said at the start, you've got other media appearances to do this week and you've got better things to do with your time than talk football with us. So if I can, you're more than welcome on again anytime you're free. But thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And good luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
Cheers, ladies. Well done.
Thank you. Bye.
And it gives us the opportunity then to thank all three ladies for joining us. I did send Charlie a thank you message just at the end there. And she also said she'd love to come on again. She had fun, but she has to head for the station for 10. So that's why she had to leave, which we completely understand. Let's look to the men's team then, as we welcome a couple more panelists to the show, starting with Nick. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, evening, Fyfie. Very good first part of the show. Enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, I very much enjoyed it as well. I thought all three spoke very, very well. And again, like I was saying to Rich, you could feel the positivity. So I hope that came across to everyone watching or listening back. Completing the panel tonight, good evening to Ben.
Evening, how are we doing, boys? All right?
Very, very well, thank you, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Interesting listening a bit earlier as well. All three girls came across really, really well.
No, completely agree. Nick, well, let's talk the men's team then. Before we talk maths on the pitch, did you enjoy your day out? There must have been. Did you keep a clicker for how many different people you hugged at Leyton Orient?
No, not a clicker. No, it was a very, very good day out. Even got a seat on the train partial way getting into London, so that was quite a bonus. Thanks to Joe. Bit of a rammed carriage as
Could you
usual on the
imagine?
trains.
Could you imagine someone saying to Joe, "I'm having that seat," and him just looking at them and saying, "No, this is for Nick."
I was also going to say the reason Nick didn't have a clicker was because clickers only have 3 digits on them, so he wouldn't have been able to keep track of it after the 999 point.
No, it was all good. Great to say got with Joe and Rich and the people, and also Joe's daughter Georgia. When we scored the equaliser, we were hugging each other, jumping up and down like maniacs. So that's certainly very pleasant for myself. Met up with Danny, had a nice big hug with Danny, so that was all good. Only shook hands with Garv, so I thought that was appropriate.
What, you didn't hug Garv?
No. He's got too much muscle on him.
Trying to get his arms around him.
Yeah. Met up with Chris from the supporters club as well. So although she wasn't very impressed with my food choice before the game, because I had pie, mash, and liquor.
What's wrong with that? That's proper
and I said, what?
Local
she
food.
She said, "Do you want liquor with it?" I said, "Well, what is it?" Oh, she said, "It's like a parsley sauce." And I was walking away from the counter with it, and Chris saw me and looked at it and went,
Yeah.
"Oh, sorry, Nick. I
I'd
didn't
tried
mean to
that,
put you
Nick.
off your
I'd
food."
tried that. That's
It's
proper-
good. No, I enjoyed it.
What-
It was good. Good football nosh. So yeah,
it
great
like
day,
eels?
great people.
Is it like eels you get with that or something like that? Or
No,
what-
you
what-
can get that's jellied eels.
You go
that'd
full
be
Cockney
too
there,
far.
Rich. Jellied eels.
Yeah, jellied
That
You're
would
gonna
be
have jelly
going-
deal with your pie and
Yeah,
mash.
too far, mate. Too far. That would be.
Pie
But no,
mash
it's a good
and
day.
jellied
Yeah,
eels.
taking the football out is a real good day. Really enjoyed it.
Nick, you've been called out. I'm guessing the liquor got to you because Garv said he's lying. We had a cuddle, and Danny said, "Lovely to see you, Nick. You hugged Garv goodbye. He gave you a bear hug, and we left."
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I was thinking before the game, Danny. So
Oh.
I
Yeah,
was
300 pounds.
over enthused with our draw.
How dare you, Nick? How can you forget giving Garv a hug?
Sorry,
Oh.
Garv. I only remembered giving Danny the hug.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh, dear me. It always warms my heart when Nick goes on an away day because I just get tagged in so many pictures of him hugging people on the Fools Rush In accounts. It's brilliant. I love it.
It's got to be.
I can only dream of being as popular as Nick. Guys, let's talk the game. Rich, as is tradition, let's start with you. You said your thoughts might not be the same as the majority of the panel at the start. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, like I think with the whole game itself, like I think as a collective, I don't think either side were that great, to be honest. I thought we started off very slowly, and obviously from their goal, the header was, I mean, it was just poor marking, really. And when Morris said in his post-match that they'd worked on that all week, that's really, really concerning to hear that. Just like something that happened in the 12th minute. I mean, we did have our moments in the first half, but I didn't feel as if that we really deserved anything out of that first half. I certainly don't think, well, we didn't deserve to get an equaliser in the first half. In the second half, we did pick it up a little bit, but I still think we were very very neglectful with the ball. Like we had it and we just kept giving it away in so many ridiculous positions where we couldn't really get any momentum going forward up front. I will say the goal that we did score was just a piece of absolute brilliance. The way that we played it out from the back, that's what we want to be seeing more, and little 1-2s that we're having. But as a collective, a lot of the fans, I mean, celebrating a 1-1 draw, I mean, against top of the league. And I don't know if that's me being really harsh, and but obviously I want to see my team succeed. And I thought when we scored that equaliser, I thought we could have gone on and done something, or at least pushed to try and get a second goal. because we needed those points more than Leyton Orient did. I mean, Leyton Orient sky high in League Two at the moment. We needed those points. We needed it was either go for it or bust, I thought, against top of the league to get an equaliser and not really push. I was really disappointed at full time, and I wasn't. I wasn't one that was, obviously I applaud the players off and stuff like that, but I wasn't like singing like I would usually be. I think if that result happened earlier in the season, like for example Bradford, I think I would have been a little bit more,
enthused
and pleased and with a point. But I think where we are at this point of the season, the position that we're in, the fact that we should be getting 3 points, it doesn't matter if it's top of the league or bottom of the league, it doesn't matter. We should be getting all 3 points there. And
yeah, I understand that.
It's a tough one, and obviously I don't know if many people will agree with me on that, but I just felt as if that Leyton Orient certainly weren't at their best on Saturday, and I felt as if that, I mean, we were nowhere near on their level or our best as well, but I do think I just think that we could have done something better in that game. We really could have.
So I was really intrigued, and I'll stick with you for a minute if I can, Rich. I was really intrigued when I listened back to both managers' post-match interviews on the game. And first and foremost, you can tell listening to them both talk. I mean, we know about Richie anyway. But you could just tell that they're both winners in the way they talk, because they were. So Jody, I felt, and again, I don't know if people agree that listen to it, every time he was asked a question about a positive, he was kind of like, yeah, but, and he went into something that could be improved. And when I listened back to Richie Wellens' interview, he spoke about it. He said they knew that we had no defense, and they didn't exploit it. He felt that they started by bullying us, but they didn't maintain it. And it was only towards the end. He said if anyone was going to win it, it was them. But the way we played, we arguably deserved a point. And he was really disappointed that they didn't maintain the levels to punish us. Because like was said last week, and I think a few of the guys said it on the show on Friday, they know that they could probably have named the team we were going to put out because of the available players, more or less. So they knew where our weak points were, but he didn't feel that they exploited it often enough.
No, I mean, like, I think they had the better of the chances. Like, they obviously had a few shots, but not really threatening our goalkeeper, to be honest with you. It didn't really threaten Sol Bryn. They apparently had 2 penalty shots at the end there, and I think even Richard agreed that they were certainly not penalties, and I definitely didn't think they were either. I do think in terms of them exploiting our weak points, obviously from the corner when they scored, okay, you can arguably say that was the bit, but obviously I think what Richie's obviously hoping for was that because they had the majority of the possession as well, so they obviously wanted to create. It was almost sort of seeing like a little bit like our team at the start of the season, but not really creating anything. But they were doing it in such a better way than what we were doing at the start of the season. And, you can tell the level of that team. You can see why they're top of the table, just with the presence of their team, the players that they've got and everything like that. And I think it was just an off day for them. But again, I felt as if that we should have probably pushed the barrel, because we knew that they weren't really pushing our weak points. So that should have been our thought. Right, okay, they're not pressing us. They're not really creating anything good. We're defending well. Right, let's try and get them on the counter attack. And I felt as if the chances that we had on the counter attack, we didn't really succeed in taking. Because I think most of the balls were going to Hutton and Russian on the right hand side, and when we were getting the ball in, we just weren't quick enough. And when we did get those balls into the box, there was just nobody there in there for it. So it's a tough one. It's a tough situation, but I do feel as if we should have probably done better out of that game.
Let me bring Nick back in for a moment as I bring the match stats as BBC report it up. In all honesty, with the exception of the corners where it showed that there was pressure applying, Nick, it doesn't look like Orient, we were, I think Garth said it in one of his comments, it doesn't look like we were too far off it in terms of at least matching our hopes.
Yeah, bless you, whoever that was. Yeah, to be honest, I think both managers can be a bit disappointed in part of the play, in that neither keeper had to make a really difficult save for the whole game. So nobody created a real clear-cut chance. And to be honest, if I was an Orient supporter, I would be more upset than Swindon. As you've just said, they had 12 corners, scored from the more or less the first one. And after that, we managed to clear it. We did get bodies in the way. And not only the corners, in the second half, I lost count of the number of long throws that they were just hauling into our box. And again, which we did really well. We got the headers in, we got the second ball, we got it cleared. First half, we were very, very nervous. Obviously, we had a makeshift defence, players playing out of position. They were trying to play the ball before they got it under control. Then they were mishitting passes. A player then had to try and control it on a ball that wasn't hit to him properly. He was mishitting it. He was losing control, and we were losing the ball and putting ourselves under pressure. Once we settled down, as I say, there was no real clear-cut danger, certainly in that first half, although Orient were a far better side first half. And second half, we held our own. And apart from, we could so easily have lost that in stoppage time. Hutton went to sleep. The player went through, got into the area. There was a coming together, and we've seen them given. But, thankfully, the ref didn't give what could have been a penalty and killed us right at the death. So we might have got away with one there. If it had been at the other end, we'd have been screaming for a pen. But obviously they were doing the same. So I think overall, for me, it was a deserved draw. So I would be more upset as an Orient fan that they didn't go on to win it with the possession. Actually, the rest of it, as you said, Fyfie, was pretty good. They had 11 shots to our 8, and we both had 4 shots on target. Although I say none of them really troubled the keeper that much. I think there was one. I think it's Divine hit it across the goal. Figaro palmed it and just managed to grab it before it came free for a forward coming in. And then I think it was late in the second half, George Moncur, they let him go through straight into the penalty area and he knocked a shot wide of the post. And that was probably the nearest they come to scoring. So, yeah, overall, good result, good point, great atmosphere. Fans were brilliant, enjoyable day.
Woody, let me come to you next on a couple of points, if I can. Julian, as he did last year, proved a very popular guest in the comments and messages I had after Friday's show. Had a brief exchange of messages with him after the game, and he said he congratulated. He put "well done, boys." And when I was asking about his reaction, he just said that he felt they should have won the game. But our boys gave it a go. He's still hopeful it's League One for the both of us. There was one thing I wanted to ask you, and the reason I'm asking you is because I know what Ben will say, and I'm conscious of also knowing what's coming after, like in the next bit of the show. So you will kind of balance it out for me at this point, and it's linking into a comment we had just a second ago. So let me flash this one back up. When you compare it to what Rich said just a couple of minutes ago, if you isolate the game, I would agree it's a good point. But do you understand Rich's frustrations and the frustrations some of the other fans were we are getting to the point where we can't just keep getting isolated good points. We need to pick up wins.
Yeah, I think first of all, to address that point, Lindsay didn't get digged by Leyton Orient, so I think that's comparable. So, like, regardless if we were at home, because our home form isn't that great anyway. So I disagree with the point of that Lindsay would have got digged. I think when we look at the game overall, two teams that do like a bit of possession football, it was probably going to be a case of which team cancelled the other one out, to be totally honest. I fully agree with what you've said there, Fyfie, in terms of as an isolated game, yes, it's not a bad result against top of the league, but let's not forget that we've already had a positive result against top of the league. So, like we said, for me, I still stand by it. I think I said on Friday or Monday, whichever episode I said it in, it was a must-win game because of the situation we're in. There's nothing to do with who we're playing. It's a must-win game because of the situation we're in. However, that being said, it does extend the unbeaten run. But if we draw on Saturday, then it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can afford. I mean, there's ambitious people out there that are thinking that we're going to win the majority, 75-80% of our rest of our games, which isn't going to happen. I mean, it's not impossible, but I don't think it's going to happen.
It's improbable.
But yeah, but that being said, if we can win against the games we should be winning, then the draw will mean a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be one of those. It's going to be impossible to say how much this game means until the end of the season.
I think I was just going to say, Woody, I just cut in there. Like, in terms of the game on Saturday, I think at half time, if you thought I was going to get, if I wouldn't have said that we would have got anything out of that game, going by what the first half was saying, I think I'm more disappointed.
You also just said, Rich, that Orient weren't at their best. So how could you come to that conclusion?
They weren't, but they got the goal out of absolute nothing. But I don't think they really attacked us, and I didn't think they were going to get a second goal. But I didn't think that we were going to score. They got a goal because we didn't do our job. But if one team doesn't do their job and the other team are there and they score from it, that's that, isn't it? But I thought we were going to get anything out of that second half, to be honest with you. In terms of us actually going to win the game, I thought once we did score that equaliser, I thought we would have at least pushed to try and score that second goal and actually put all the effort into it, because I felt as if that is what we needed. And I felt as if that they could have been there for the taking there, and we didn't do it. I don't think we did it well enough. So,
and I guess obviously I wasn't at the game, Rich, so I didn't see. But I'm going to ask from a coaching point of view now. Like, what gave, and I'll ask this to anybody really, but what gave you the impression that we weren't going for it when we equalised? Because there's a going for it, and then Leyton Orient potentially putting more pressure on us, which meant we naturally had to defend. And if Leyton Orient they are a better side, regardless. On paper, they've had a better season. They're in better form. So I'm not defending. Because I'm not one of those that's jumping on. Oh, we've had a great. I didn't necessarily celebrate the draw. I celebrated the equaliser, but I didn't necessarily celebrate the draw.
Same with me.
But obviously it's a well done to the players. It's a good draw in the grand scheme of things away from home. But what kind of gave you the impression that we didn't go for it? Was it the fact that we looked reserved and we went we went 4 at the back or whatever, or was it just the fact that Leyton Orient were higher pressure than us?
I felt as if, we obviously had a couple of chances on the counter attack, and like I said earlier, I thought we could have probably taken those efforts probably a little bit more. And I get the feeling that's probably what we were trying to do for them. We weren't trying to play our style of football. I felt as if that we were holding back, and you could tell in the dying minutes as well that we were holding on for that 1-1 draw. And yes, Leyton Orient did put a bit of pressure on, but the only way for us to literally play the football that we want to play is by playing them at their own game, because I feel as if that we are equally as good as they are. And like I said, I don't think they were that great. And I felt as if that we could have probably put a little bit more pressure, put at least maybe one or more than two passes together after we scored that equaliser, because that equaliser was amazing, absolutely amazing. And I just felt as if after that we sort of, I wouldn't say we switched off, because we did hold on for a draw, and like I said, they did put a bit of pressure on us towards the dying minutes of the game. But yeah, I just feel as if that I think we could have done more, and I think we've shown that. I think we've shown that in previous games.
I think a point you made there, Rich, is what happened. They went away from their natural game. They stopped playing the football by hitting it long throw-ins, forcing corners, just trying to get the ball into our penalty area, which meant we weren't getting on the ball ourselves because of the way they were playing. Not because of football on the ground. It was long balls, get it down the wings, try and get crosses in. They say he must have had, I don't know, 10 long throws instead of them trying to play the football. So hence, we weren't getting ourselves on the ball because we were having to defend that with a lot of bodies in and around the box. And then when it was being cleared, obviously we were light up front. I mean, you've got to give Morris a lot of credit to bring Wakeling on as a wing back. I mean, who would have said you'd have gone, you know, what the hell's he doing? He's not a wing back, but Christ, didn't that work? And like you said, that goal, and I think any Swindon fan, and certainly the fans at home who don't go to the away games, and the ones that moan about how we play, have a look at that goal, because that was a perfect type of Swindon goal. It started from our own goal line in the corner. Yeah. We moved it about with 3 or 4 decent passes. Then we hit a long ball, which Charlie nodded on. Then we got it under control, and it's a great 1-2 with Wakeling and Hepburn Murphy for the goal. So to me, that, as you said, that was an absolute stonking goal. But we did that because we were able to we got the ball on the ground because they allowed us to then. And after that, they were just trying to pile in, going away from their natural game, in which was their downfall. And I'm sure Wennings must have gone absolutely mental at the end of the game.
Obviously, I wasn't there, so if I can ask, because I think it kind of bridges the gap between Rich's and Nick's point here. You describe it and express that very well, Nick. How many times other than the goal did we do that?
Again, not a lot. As I said earlier, neither keeper had a difficult save to make. We had a couple of good runs into the penalty area first half. Hepburn Murphy got on the end of one at the far post and hit it just the wrong side of the post, which looked like it was a goal all the way. And really, apart from that, I can't remember another decent chance that we squandered or that we had that forced the keeper into a save. So it was very much, you know, do what we had to do to get something out of the game, I think.
I was just going to go quickly back onto the point, just very quickly. Obviously, in terms of the passing game, like you just asked, Fyfie, how many other times did we actually put a pass together or anything like that? And I just don't feel as if that we did. And do you know what?
Morris
I think that's been a lot. I think a lot of you could see that in the previous few games under Morris, and I feel as if that is something we really need to work on. But I don't think it's just the passing technique or anything like that. I think it's the communication in the team. Again, it's just a lack of leadership in that team. There's and we've said it before. We've said it on the last few weeks. There is so much. There is so.
I think leadership should be one of the words we ban for the rest of the season.
I wish we could, mate. I really, really wish we could. But you could tell that, and I think that is a major, major part of combination play, getting the ball, stretching the play, getting the balls out to the wings, actually putting a few passes together. And, you know, I just feel as if that there has been a massive lack of that. And I think that is another major reason as to why we weren't able to play our own game against Leyton Orient. And, you know, I just, it doesn't matter how much pressure they put on us. You know, I think experience in a team can really sort of dodge the way that they play sometimes. So I do think, massively inexperience and leadership. I think if we had a couple more experienced players on that team, I reckon we might have been able to get something out of that game. You could see their team. They've got so many experienced players. Literally, there was so many players there you knew that have just been in and around either League One, League Two, and even the Championship. Okay, we've got an ex-Premier League player on our team, but he's up front, like sort of thing like that. They've got a great mixture of players, and I think massively missed on that.
Ben, in a 2023 remake of a classic film, I'd like to talk to you about The Ugly, the Good, and the Excellent. Which one would you like first?
Go on, give me The Ugly.
Some fans were very fortunate enough to see what Divine is. And a lot of the reports is while he was on the pitch, he was one of the better players. Unfortunately, his debut didn't last the longest.
No, I think we would have liked to have given him a shorter time or let him come off the bench if we had more fit players. I think credit to the players and the defence that started at the back five that started. 3 of them were making their first start of the season. I think on the game itself, actually, just saying, I think to reduce Lane Orient, a team that have been flying, especially at home, they've got an unbelievably good home record, to long balls and throw-ins, again, is credit to the way we played. I totally understand what Rich was saying with going, well, we've got an equaliser, we're playing catch-up here, why don't we just go for it? I think that point, psychologically, because of the week that we've had at the club behind the scenes, with brand, with signing players, with everything that's gone on.
Or not in both cases.
Or not gone on. I think it's been very, very frustrating for the players and Morris. I think that draw to them and the hard work they put in to them would have felt like a win. We've got a little over quarter of the season still to go. Quarter of the season, really. 1 game off quarter of the season still to go. So there is time, not much, but that point was a plus point. Okay. That was a good point. It wasn't like going to Rochdale and just drawing 1-1, which would have been a bad point. We were expected to get absolutely hammered. We were
sorry. Can I just? Sorry, no. I'll let you carry on. I just want to ask forgetting the teams that you've named there themselves. What's the difference between a draw at Leyton Orient and a draw at Rochdale?
Because at Rochdale,
it's the same amount of points gained.
Yeah, it's the same amount of points. But at Rochdale, they're a team towards the bottom of the league, scrapping to get anything. They're losing most.
And Leyton Orient are running away with it.
Yeah, we don't get bonus points for drawing with teams above us.
No, but Leyton Orient players are better than Rochdale players.
I'd just come in on that, Ben. I understand 100% what you're saying. We go to Rochdale in draw. A team that are bottom of the league, that puts a downer on it. Yeah, we go to Leyton Orient, a team that are top of the league and flying, and we get a draw. That puts us in a positive position that we've competed with a team at the top of the league. So I understand what you're saying there. Again, yes, Fyfie, it is only 1 point still, but psychologically, there's a massive difference.
Yeah, it's a point. Julian said on Friday, he says, do you know what, boys? There's a real danger because we're due to give someone a right good spanking. And all of us went, yeah. And we were all seriously concerned it would be us. Our main centre-back is a 20-year-old, a Liverpool Academy graduate who's played 7 months first-team football. He was our main defender against a team flying at the top of the league. 3 defenders were making their first game start of the season.
Well, don't jump ahead of me on a topic.
But equally, we had a former Premier League striker playing up front.
We did, but
and a midfielder who's played European football.
Being away from home, we're not that we're going to be defending more than we're going to be attacking, especially against a team up front. Charlie Austin's needs attacking football and chances to really have an impact in the game.
I just want to.
It wasn't going to be that type of game for us ever. We weren't.
Sorry. I really want to let you finish your point, Ben. But while we're on the subject, I just want to follow Nick's comment up with one more, and then we can go full circle and let you finish what you were saying. Nick, you saying about the psychological difference of drawing with Rochdale to drawing with Leyton Orient. Say we're 1-0 down to Rochdale, and we get a 92nd minute equaliser. Do you think that's different to the equaliser we got against Leyton Orient? Or do you think they celebrate that more because it shows the character? The words that I'll get from the likes of yourself and Ben is character, never say die, commitment, blah, blah, blah.
No, if we've had to scrape a 90th minute equaliser against Rochdale, it just shows we haven't been good enough. And if I was a player in that team, I would come off with there pissed off because we haven't done a job. Getting an equaliser against top of the league, I've come off that pitch saying, we've put a shift in, lads, and that's a positive. I mean, when I played local league football in a team that was never going to win the league, but if we beat top of the league or we got a good point against the top of the league, we were buzzing. We go off to some team down the bottom of the league and we scrape a draw. Everybody's pissed off, thinking, what a waste of time that was. So to me, there is a big difference, Fyfie.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Even if you equalise the last minute against Rochdale, you're sat in that dressing room, it's flat. Because you've gone into the game going, right, lads, let's get 3 points here because they're on their arse.
We have all been to home and away games where we have scored last-minute equalisers and celebrated the shit out of it.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. But in that moment, it's all relative to the opponent you're playing at the time. But there is a league, literally a whole league apart from Leyton Orient and Rochdale. Because
they're in the same league.
One game in 20, and Orient win every week. So mentality going into the games are going to be different. I fully understand the point you're making, but I think we just need to remember, no matter the difference in league position, we are talking about 3 League Two sides. I get you. Black and white, it's a point. It's a point. Black and white, it's a point. It's a point. But I can tell you now, against that after Orient game, players have gone in and they're all buzzing. Minton sat there, the biggest grin on his face because he's made his league late debut and he's put an absolute stonking performance on. Tomlinson's sat there going, "That's fucking brilliant, lads." All the defenders, all giving high five. They go, "Look, well done, fucking quality point." We've got a point against these lot with a depleted squad. There's no one. We can fear no one in this league. Because we've just performed that. Let's go to Carlisle and build on this now. Because we've given ourselves a platform where we can bolster us. Go on next week and build on this. If it's Rochdale, we're sat there with a point going, "Oh, fuck."
If we didn't fear any team, wouldn't we have gone on and beaten Leyton Orient?
But if you go, this is right. Okay, lads, let's absolutely go for this, and then we commit a few players up, and then they nick a last-minute winner, then it's flat. It's gone.
But. I know you're playing risks, but you're really playing. There's more of a difference between there's more of a difference between 1 point and 3 points than there is of 1 point.
There's 2 points. There's 2 points difference, and that was a call from. He could have put more players, and that's a call from the manager Morris. He could have gone more attacking and really diced with death, but I think the chances are we probably would have lost that because Orient would have bombarded us those last goals, and we would have left more gaps at the back, and I think we would have probably lost if he had taken. We might have won, but I think if he took more of a risk, I think the chances are we probably would have lost that. And then we really would have been flat on our arse again because all that effort would have gone for nothing.
But you can't say that we don't. You can't. I was just sorry, Fyfie. You can't really say. Sorry, you can't really say that. Obviously, we don't fear teams because, like I say, if we feared them, then we'd be just going all out at them. But I understand your point, sort of thing like that, and I don't want to make that into a big debate or anything like that. Yeah. But that's all I'm saying.
It's fascinating that specific bit actually because it links into what Arch is saying here. They're expected to beat Rochdale, but not Leyton Orient, and we had a very similar chat in the Fools group yesterday, I think it was. Where the point I tried to make was if Swindon are going to finish where people expect us to finish, then we should be expecting to take points off of these teams. We can't expect to finish in the top 7 if we're not taking the points, if we're not expecting to take points off the top 7. Because what's the point in being in there? Because if you're not expecting to beat them, there's no point being in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'll use a phrase that you hate because I know it'll wind you up.
Go on.
Orient was a free hit.
It fucking wasn't, Nick.
It was a free hit.
Off, Nick.
I knew that would wind you up. Now listen, what did we all say on
at
Friday?
this stage of the season? There is no
What did we all?
We're
What
going to
did
be
we all?
saying Carlisle. We've
I'm
got
censoring Nick.
second back-to-back weeks. Carlisle's
What did we all say on Friday? I said we'd lose 2-0. I think most of the other guys. I don't think anybody predicted a win. I might be wrong there. I can't remember.
I probably do because I'm weird.
And so that was a game, and we'll probably talk about our predictions and where we think we'll finish in the league. That we've got 13 games left. We don't have to win 13 games to get enough points on average to reach the playoffs. I've said we need to win 7 of those 13. So yes, we're not going to win every game. So there's some. To me, it's better to lose to Orient. And we got a draw there than it is to lose to who's coming? Stevenage, Bradford, Tranmere, the teams in and around us. So if we're going to lose or drop points to anyone,
I agree.
drop
with
the
that
team,
point.
drop it to the team that's top of the league. But the ones around us, that's the ones we need to win, and that's going to be crucial. My biggest worry is our home form has been diabolical, and we're playing all the teams around us at home. So that's where we've got to step it up, and that's going to be key if we do anything this season.
Ben and Nick are getting lots of support in the chat, and Rob's tweeted in as well. Fully agree with Ben tonight. Ben, I'll come back. Sorry, Woody. Yeah, you wanted to make a point, and then I want to come back to Ben. So I've still got two points I need to make with Ben on the game.
I went off Sean Devine to get my little rant. Yeah, bless him.
You
Sean
did.
Devine as well. Can we just have a little shout out to a wonderful debut and the poor.
Did you call him Sean Devine?
Reese Devine. I don't know where Sean Devine came from. Reese Devine. Oh, riches again. Reese Devine. Can we just spare thought for as well, because he came on, was a little wonder kid, and then got injured again. We don't know how long he's going to be out for, but
let's not forget the.
Have we not been sparing a thought for him all season?
Well, we've
been asking what is a Devine all season.
We've been wondering if he exists.
But
it must be quite hard just to be sat out watching the whole season being injured.
We also should send our best wishes to Ellis, whose season is evidently over at the same time.
Yeah.
Although, without going into specifics, Ben wasn't the most sympathetic when it got
not at
posted
left back.
in the Force.
Midfield, we'd have missed you because we need that experience in midfield. Not at left back though.
Woody, you wanted to come on to 1 point before I went back to Ben.
It was more about the psychological thing. I don't fully agree, but I can see the concept that's being made. The reason I say that is because I think the psychological impact depends on who you talk to. So already in this pod tonight, rightly or wrongly, we've said Rich has said that Leyton Orient weren't at their best. So if Leyton Orient weren't at their best psychologically, as a player, I'm thinking, why didn't we beat them?
Yeah,
we've got a last-minute winner against top of the league who weren't playing very well. But then on the other flip side of that, you're right. Minturn would be buzzing. The other centre-backs, etc., will be buzzing. I still reflect on the fact that psychologically, I think at this point of the season, and I'm not denying it's a good point in terms of it's a positive result that we've got more points than
100%.
But I think I don't want to be sat here missing out on the playoffs by 2 points. And
because we didn't go for it at Orient.
Because let's not forget that we gave Orient a run for their money at home. And yes, we had a depleted squad away. Okay, but let's not forget that apparently Lindsay was fucking awful. And also, so it's kind of, and this is why I think I said at the beginning of the season, I know Ben and I went to and fro on it, but this is why draws are fucking are so almost as hindering sometimes as a loss, because we know that if we didn't draw whatever it was many games in a row, and this would be down to Scott Lindsay, we wouldn't be in this position now if we had gone out and won those games. So I'm just hoping, because I am still positive, because I will be positive until it's mathematically impossible. But I just think that the reason I'm not overly celebrating is just because I think that when I'm hearing people say, and Rich isn't the first person who said that we probably should have gone for the win, that's why I was intrigued to say how he knew, what he saw as a defensive performance, I guess. I just think that, like, for me, Nick made a very good point in terms of we need to be picking up wins with teams around us, which for me makes Leyton Orient exactly the same as Rochdale. You know, we bring back that argument because Leyton Orient are miles above us and Rochdale are miles below us. And in fact, if we get to the latter end of the season and we're playing teams in that bottom four and we manage to nick a draw, those are teams that are going to be gunning because they want to get out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
So
Very,
you
very
could
good
argue that, yes, it's a very bad point. It's actually probably a 2 points drop for Leyton Orient, regardless of what happened, because I don't know how close they are to second place now. But, but I think from my point of view, psychologically, we're going into the last quarter of the season. I think anything but a win will be having a psychological impact on the players because they keep saying they don't. They're saying they're taking it game by game, but they'll know in the back of their heads, and Morris will know, and they're all of that. They'll all be going, right, what do we need to get into the playoffs? And they'll know they'll have a list. And the problem is like when we look at games like that, and what if we do go to Carlisle and lose? You know, we can't, and I hope we don't. God damn it, I hope we don't, because obviously it's a big day for some people. But it's but if we go to Carlisle and lose, that's 1 point out of 6 all of a sudden. So it's just kind of, I just think we need to be careful on kind of making sure we don't contradict ourselves by saying it's a good point because it was away to the leaders when some are saying that Leyton Orient weren't at their best. Yes, they changed to long throws. That's because they have that in their tank. They have that in their armory. We don't have that in our armory. We have that our way of playing, and I'm not against that. I think, I saw the goal. I agree with Nick and Ben and Rich. It was a very good goal. It was a very well worked goal. I still stand by it. If Wakeland had started, it might have been a different thing. But
well, Jody explained why he couldn't start, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I only listened
to the hamstring issue.
Hamstring
issue.
Yeah.
Just to pick up on one point you made there.
Poor Ben wants to come back to his point.
Yeah, sorry, Ben, but it's just something that Woody said that you said that you could say we've dropped 2 points and that could keep us out of the playoffs. But similarly, if we'd have gone gung-ho and lost that game, the 1 point we've gained may keep us in the playoffs. So, it's whichever way it could be one or the other. And obviously, we won't know until May the 8th where we sit. So, I guess you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. It's that we're in that type of situation now.
If we do miss out by 2 points, it wouldn't be the Orient game that's cost us.
If we miss out,
it'd be the games like Sutton that cost us when we were 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go, and other getting like Newport having a player sent off after 10 minutes and losing the game. Shitty draw results against the teams that we should have put them away.
So, Ben, let's come on to the good, and it's already been mentioned, but we've been calling for Minturn for weeks, and with the exception of maybe one sort of dodgy moment, he's largely got rave reviews by everybody.
Do you know what? It's one in the eye for Morris for Minturn as well, because Morris said like a week ago that he's not ready yet. He can't really be trusted and he doesn't really want to use him. And then Minton's gone and put performance like that. I don't know if that's brilliant motivation skills by Morris and he knows exactly how to play Minton and get into his head to get him to go, fuck you, Morris. or that was just sheer luck. But yeah, I think he's just introduced himself as someone that we can use if needs be. And, that game means he'll remember that game for the rest of his life. And that will mean so much for him. And, the goal conceded was nothing to do with him. It wasn't his fault. He didn't lose his man and he did his bit and he stood firm. And that was a good team. And, they were bombarding us with deep balls, long throw-ins, and they're a physical team. They've got good, strong players. And the academy lad held his own. And I think there's a special mention to him that he did his bit for his club. So well done, Minton. And I think he deserves to start on Saturday now.
I was just going to say, Ben, I think once you've had a game like that, you've not really made any errors. The only way from your debut after a successful debut was up from there. I think especially for an 18-year-old who's just come in to play a very it's never an easy position to play, and you know, at that age as well, in League Two football, it's always quite a daunting thing. But obviously, he wasn't phased going into that game, so you know, you've got to keep that confidence. You've got to, as a manager, you've got to have the confidence. Especially a player playing that position, you've got to have the confidence to say, right, okay, you've done it against top of the league now, right? Let's see you try and back up and see if you replicate and see if you can do it again. So I'd like to see Minton. I think he deserves to, because I don't think he really put a foot wrong on. You could tell he was a little bit, a couple of touches early on were a little bit nervous, but which defender isn't, you know? Yeah, of course you would be. I mean, we saw that with Jake O'Brien last season when he came in on loan. His first few touches were very nervy, but once he got into the game, he grew, and you know, and that's what you do as a defender. So yeah, it's fantastic to see, and we need to keep that. We need to keep him, especially in terms of youth and our motivation of growing our own players. I think Minton's definitely one for the future, and let's just hope we can keep hold of him, because he's definitely up there.
Yeah, echo that. That's brilliant. Yeah, 100%.
And then on the third topic, Ben, I think the Twitterati of STFC have run out of, is the term superlatives to describe McEachran.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's sublime. Yeah, no, he's here, there, and everywhere, really, isn't he? I think I still can't get my head around that he's not played all season, and then he's putting performance like that. He's still probably not much fit yet, so he's only going to get better for the run-in. I just hope he stays fit, because he's going to be crucial to us. The understatement is that he's a bitty little midfielder, and he's got bags of ability, and he's an all-rounder as well. He's creative, he can do the dirty stuff as well. You know, and he's got a bit about him. He's got a bit of nasty about him. He's just a solid all-round midfielder, and I think he's got a big future ahead of him. He's a quality player. I'm pleased. Even if he does end up not signing next season and going on because of his age, we'll get some decent money for him through Tribunal anyway, because of the Bosman. So at least we'll get something for him if we don't keep him, if we don't go up. But he's quality. So let's enjoy him whilst he's here.
Paddy, good evening, sir, says good evening, gentlemen. Did not see us getting a point at Leyton Orient, so credit to the team and Jody Morris for that. Carlisle on Saturday is a must-win game now. Yeah. But then again, every game for the remainder of the season is now must win.
Like we've said throughout the all season, the last result is only a good result if we follow it up. And the Orient one, all that effort is wasted if we don't follow it up with a win at Carlisle. If we win at Carlisle, then that result is tenfold brilliant at Orient, because again, we've taken more points of teams above us in the league. That goes with who's that Northern club that we took points off recently in one? I've forgotten their name.
Salford,
yeah. Salford, Orient, and then that will be Carlisle as well. So, you know, it would be, you know, we'd be doing the business, but we have to win Saturday. We've got to go for it.
Before I move on, does anyone want to add anything else to the review of the Leyton Orient game?
I'll just add one thing in there. I don't know whether it's even relevant, but I did see a photograph of John Terry at the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Now, could he be our next coach with Jody Morris?
No.
I'll throw that out there.
In a word, Nick, no.
I knew that was going to be the answer, but I just thought I'd throw it out there for entertainment points.
Wow.
They would cost a lot of money, John Terry, wouldn't they, to be quite honest?
He doesn't need money, does he? They're
no,
multi-millionaires.
He could be helping out his mate to the end of the season.
Yeah, Jody's mate.
I like to think that he's probably given him a few tips.
Yeah.
He might have actually been brought in just, say, be our defensive coach and just have a little chat with the boys and stuff. And that, you know.
That didn't quite work. That didn't quite work for the first goal on Saturday,
did it? Just be, like, helping out.
Haven't Leyton Orient got some Chelsea youth players?
I'd imagine so.
Because he's currently at he's currently at Chelsea Youth Academy. I think he was probably there more for Leighton Orient, or maybe he was.
I don't think he was. No, because he has commented on Jody Morris's posts about come on Swindon.
His brother is a coach at Orient.
His brother is a coach. Oh, is that?
His brother's playing. I remember. Is it
Paul?
Paul, yeah, Paul Terry. I remember. He was at Yeovil, wasn't he?
Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, which is for the three of us on the top of the screen, essentially, and not so much the two at the bottom. The question is, are we too negative? And we'd like to take you a little bit behind the scenes at Fools Rush In, and hopefully some of the things we discussed previously will make sense. Because I've had some comments on some of them, hopefully it'll start to make sense. So we are not, we don't put this on. We are not characters. This is how we talk to each other off camera as well as on camera. And I'm quite happy to be proven wrong in my opinion, where, if I am wrong. But also I consider myself quite a positive fan, unless I'm talking to Ben. And then I always feel like I'm a negative fan because Ben is over. So I think it's fair to say, Ben, you live life to the extreme. You are either ridiculously positive or unfathomably negative. There is no middle ground with you. Is that fair?
Do you know what? I'm going to say something to make you all laugh here. But I actually think I'm quite balanced.
Yeah, but that's only because when he's really negative,
I just argue my point to the extreme.
Where is that Ben? Is he locked up somewhere?
Where's balance, Ben?
I've not seen him.
We are talking.
I just argue my point to the extreme.
You don't be just.
But I think that's why.
We are talking to Mrs. Archer about creating the balanced Ben action figure, hopefully in stores ready for next Christmas. I'd love to see someone create a balanced Ben action figure. Anyway, so we were having a discussion just yesterday, weren't we, Ben? And we were exchanging.
We had a
views.
Twitter exchange, yes.
Yeah.
Or a WhatsApp exchange.
A WhatsApp exchange. So you made some points. I very much disagreed.
Yes.
But I said I'm happy to say I might be wrong here, so I'd let other people pass comment on it.
Yeah.
So the 5 that I picked out, and we can discuss them as a group now.
Absolutely.
To see what we think. So the first question was the point that was made, and this is the one that I got questioned on because the options I made available. Ben went on to tell us that we are in more than decent form since Morris came in. And I put the form guide up there, loss, win, draw. So more than decent was perceived to me as that's Ben's uber positive way of saying we're in good form. So I then made the next 3 below: reasonable form, average form, poor form. Now, decent form came in 3rd place, Ben. However, I did get things to say that one person said I would have liked improving to be an option. And someone else said you have to take everything into account. So good form should have been an option. So explain to us why you think, because I know what's about to come. You're going to say 7 in 9. I'm going to say explain to us why 7 in 18 is good. Or decent, okay. To use the actual term.
7 and 18. Right, okay. Well, I would say because of what the state of the squad was when he took it over, with the suspensions that he's had, with the injuries, with the absolute carnage that's happened with the squad at the moment, especially with a completely disabled backline, everything fall apart. He's not worked. Well, he's not had him next to him on the pitch. I think he's had him off the pitch with his right-hand man, Brand. He still doesn't really know what's happening with him there. And the first 3 games, the first game, the first 10 minutes, all tactics were pissed against the wall because we went down to 10 men, so it didn't quite work. Second game was an absolute shit show, and we all agree on that. That was one of the worst performances we've seen from the club at home. I've seen for a long time. The third one, there was I think it's safe to say a controversial finish, whether you believe it was a foul or not. It was controversial and a very big talking point, and some referees would have blown for the free kick. We win the game 1-0. This one didn't. We lost 2-1. That's what happens. He's taken a little bit of time to implement his own style and form. He went in straight away and he said, this team's not fit enough, not nearly fit enough. They need to run and work harder. And I think he's done that. And I think that also could have contributed to the lack of the slow start. But now we're seeing results of that. And I think Saturday's result was a result. But I think Saturday's score was a result of Swindon pressing better and being more tense. So Orient weren't having as much time as they usually do on the ball, so they can't create their own game, their own tempo, which puts them off, which means they don't have as best of a game as they normally would. And we're getting about the pitch better. And McEachran is I can say his name now. A perfect example of that. A perfect example of that, because he reminds me a little bit of Wellens, where he wants to play this high press football, and hopefully maybe next season we succeed like Wellens. We don't know.
Okay.
So I think it's taking time to implement that, and I think now we're seeing the fruit of his hard work. And hopefully, with the injuries coming back, we can put in. Hopefully, our run has already started, but hopefully, we can see it just improve as the end of the season goes on and put on a run. And you never know. Never know.
Woody, let me ask you from a coach's perspective. Does that form guide look decent form to you? Would you be happy with that? Or would you have to isolate it as a free to find the positive?
Well, I'm one of those that the only form guide we look at is the league table. That's kind of the way I look at it. However, if you're looking at momentum, I would probably look at the last 6 games. So on the basis of the last 6 games, I think it's probably a reasonable, I wouldn't say it's decent run of form. I think we're turning it away from reasonable. Again, it depends what we do in the next game. But then I reflect that on, you look at people that are near the top end of the table and they haven't got any L's in their last 6 games.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always a critic. I agree you can be a team in form, but ultimately the only form table that matters is the league table.
Yeah.
Because that's how well you've done for the last however many games we've played. But yeah, no, I think it's turning. We're turning into a team in form. As long as we keep going with that. But it's that's my general view.
It has to kick on now. There's no time. It has to kick on. Has to.
The second sort of statement that we debated. To be fair, Ben, I'm just throwing these at you. You might not even remember what all of us said in this conversation. But
no, I was a bit of a ranty at the time.
I also want to add that I missed nearly all of this conversation yesterday because
you just came in. You just joined it and said something along the lines of 109 messages. I don't know. I agree with you or I don't. Something along those lines. The second point was about our chances of making the playoffs. And once I've spoken to Ben, Nick, I'll come to you next on this one because I know that you're very much in the positive camp as well. So you described it. And again, you'll notice that the top one is always the quote I've taken from Ben. So how would you describe STFC's current playoff ambitions? And you said they are in our own hands, which me and I think it was Craig both were, and possibly Joe even, were very much saying, well, no, quite clearly being sat in 11th, it's not in our own hands. So I tried to make good options available. So I gave possible and confident, possible but a big ask, very unlikely. Your in our own hands actually came last of the options available. Over half the people that voted suggesting, in fact, 2/3 of the people that voted saying possible but a big ask. Do you understand why a lot of fans don't necessarily agree with your assessment of it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a misunderstanding of it's in our hands. As yes, I think we're going to do it, and I'm super confident of getting it. I'm saying in our own hands, as in we've got a lot of 6-pointers ahead of us, and if we win them, we get in the playoffs.
But it's not in our. But it's not in our. But it's
so
not
it's
in
in our
own
hands. You know, we're not relying on.
It's not because we're relying on teams above us to drop points. But say they won as many games as we did.
Yeah, but we are still in a position where we're not having to rely on snookers to get into the playoffs.
Do you feel, Ben, when
we have 2 games left and we're 3 points behind, we need snookers to get into the playoffs? That's not in our hands, because we could win those 2 games, and no matter what we do, we could still not make the playoffs. That's what I'm judged as not in our hands. If we go and win 3 or 4 games in a row from here on in, that will probably put us into the top 7, and then that's in our hands. It's in our hands to get in there still. That's what I mean by it's in our hands. It's up to us what we do. We don't have to rely on other results, because other results take care of themselves.
But Ben, that should be our motive for every game that we go to. We should be going into every single game to win.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be in our own hands. We should be playing the kind of football to be able to get those results. And if we're good enough, we will hit the playoffs. But
I agree.
We have to win each game.
It's in our hands to win the game, so we have to go win it. That's what I think. I think I've been misunderstood a little bit when I say.
Is it misunderstood, or do you feel sometimes what you say and what you mean isn't quite matching together?
Yeah, because also, Ben, you've got to realize, although I've just said all that stuff and you agree with me, we still have got to rely on other teams to lose.
We could win every game between now and the end of the season and not make it.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's possible, because
don't agree with that, Fyfie.
Mathematically, we could win every game and not make
it. If Salford take Mansfield, one of them is going to lose. So they, if we win every game, we will make the playoffs. It is impossible for us to win, get 39 points and finish on.
To clarify that, Ben, you say you don't understand how that's possible, but if you're allowed to use the assumption that Swindon can go and win every game between now and the end of the season,
yes,
then you can assume that 4 or even 7 of the 10 teams above us can do the same.
Absolutely, 100%, and that's why it's still in their hands as well, because there's still only a quarter of the season to go. Because
Ben, let me
it's in everyone's hands from about 12th point, 13th place upwards. It's in all our own hands, because we're capable of, teams are capable of putting a long run in and making the playoffs. That's what I mean. It's all in our own hands. And
Ben, I've got a couple of questions. So, number one, so how many games we got left of the season? We've got 13, right? 13, right? So
39 points.
First question is, when have we gone this season? Where have we gone 13 games? Not only unbeaten, but won 13 games on the bounce. Number one. Number two, when was the last time that we went 13 games on a winning streak? I probably can't name a team that has.
Well, the 13 games is hypothetical. You won't need to win 13 games to win the playoffs.
But even 13 games unbeaten is unrealistic, I would say. Given some of the teams that are in here.
At the end of last season, where we won 5 games in a row, and we hadn't won 5 games in a row at any point season, would you say that was unrealistic? After that Newport game, when we were all on our ass last season, we got beat 2-1 at home. I said, "Don't worry, lads, we'll be the playoffs. Don't worry." You all would have gone, "Oh, for fuck's sake, man."
No,
I think to be fair, I kind of see where Ben's coming from, which is strange. But I think it's just the wrong.
I think it's the wrong terminology.
It's the wrong terminology because it's. I think what Ben is trying to say is we. It doesn't matter what other teams do around us if we don't do it ourselves. I think that's what he's trying to say. But to say it's in our hands, because it's not in our hands. It's not in anybody's hands really. It's kind of it because we've got to take it game by game. But yeah, I think the in our hands is just the wrong term, and I think what you're trying to say, Ben, and I'm more than happy to. I think what you're trying to say is it doesn't matter what other teams do.
That's where I am.
Not doing the business, because that's where I am as well. I'm thinking like we could worry about it not being in our hands all we want, like, because at the end of the day, it's the same. It's the same. It's almost irrelevant whether it's in our hands or not. I mean, I look at my own Bassett team. We could go on and win the last 5 games. That would put us in fucking amazing form, but there's a very slight chance it will keep us off the bottom 2. So it's that's not in our hands because we need other teams to do not very well around us. So it's I think it's more. It's the optimistic to say it's in our hands. It's the optimism to say it's in our hands. But we're talking like Leyton Orient winning the league is in their hands because they know if they win the rest of their games,
theirs to lose.
It's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
But I think
on that point, we've got more chance of finishing bottom half of the table than we do actually in the top half of the table as well. You got to think of it that way.
If I change
as well.
in our hands to we are masters of our own destiny.
Oh my god.
No,
I mean it's better.
Fyfie, just coming in there, and I see where Ben's coming from, and not all teams in that top 12 are going to win all their games and take maximum points. It will never happen. But if we won those 13 games, we'd have 88 points, and we would be probably in the top 3. Now that ain't going to happen. So from that point of view, as Ben said, it's down to us what we do. We need to win more games, more 3-pointers than we lose or draw, and then that gives us the opportunity to get in there. So in every team in the top 12, it's exactly the same thing. So it's in all our hands to do what we need to do to get those points on the board. And you either say, well, we ain't going to make it and the season's gone, or we've got a chance of making it and we need to win X amount of games.
Yeah. So forgive me if I'm quoting this wrong, Ben, because I'm trying to do this from memory, but backing up Nick's point there, a few of us have used an app and done our predictions. For the most part, the ones that we've posted in the group so far, we've got us finishing around about 11th on sort of high 60s in the points. I did what I thought was optimistic predictions, and I had us losing 3 games between now and the end of the season. Now, if I remember yours correctly, Ben, and again, please tell me if I'm quoting this wrong, I think you've got us down to lose to Bradford, and that's the only game we lose between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
And you genuinely believe that's likely.
I don't see any reason why we can't. If you look at each game individually, and I think we can put a run on with momentum of the players that we've got and the players that we have, our firepower, the quality. If we stay injury free, and some of the players do come back from injuries, and I don't think we fear anyone in this league. And I think if we can get in within a shout, if we can put a run on now, I don't think I don't think there's a problem.
Okay. Fair enough. Evening to Liam, who's joined us as well, just as we started talking Bradford. It's as if he has a sixth sense for these things.
Yeah,
Kieran asking if Rich is okay. No, he's doing his best Fyfie impression at the minute. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? And it represents the table. And I'm throwing it out there because this could be, again, just a terminology thing. But the point that was made, and therefore the question that was asked, Swindon Town currently sit 11th in the table, 6 points from 7th. What do you think to that? Now, the point that you made when discussing the table, Ben, is we're in a much better position than before. So I
think that needs to be put on much better position than we were after the Sutton game. I think that was what our chat was about. You said
the chat was about
after Sutton.
The chat was about after Orient. That you said that we were in a much better position than we were
when Lindsay left.
Yeah, when Lindsay left.
So treating your much better position than before. Again, unfortunately, that one dropped lowest. Minimum expectation and slightly worrying were the out-and-out favours there. To be, I think quite rightly, and it backs up the point Nick was making, not a lot of fans are very worried by our league position, which is a good thing, isn't it, Ben?
Well, we've still got an outside chance of the playoffs. It's not over. It is worry because we all want to make the playoffs. We're not in the playoffs. We want to be there. But the season's not dead. We still got over a quarter of the season still to go. There's still the opportunity to get in there. So it's a concern that we're not there, but it's not dead and buried.
And who do I want to bring in on this one? Woody, let's bring you in on this particular point.
God, I genuinely don't know. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me on this one.
Fair enough. Nick, what do you think on this one?
There we go. Thank you.
That was genuine, Nick.
Sorry, put the thing up again.
The graphic back up. So it's about our league position we're in a much better position than we were when Lindsay left.
I think I said minimum expectation.
Yeah, understandable.
So I'm not over worried. Not over worried where we are. So yeah, it should be the minimum that we're in the place that we are, and we say we've got the opportunity to go further up that table.
We have just had a tweet come in saying the playoffs could be over by next Tuesday if we lose to Carlisle and Walsall.
Absolutely. They could be one or the other. They could, as equally, you could say they could be over. They could be right back on because we could take 6 points. We could take 0. Let's see.
Eagle Eye viewers would have also noticed just then that clearly Rich is still logged in as the host from a previous show, because when he hid his camera, my profile picture came up. Either that or he just really, really likes me.
Big fan.
So it's ideal when I become a host again.
Oh, okay. The next one we were discussing again, actually similar to the discussion we already had tonight, Ben. We were discussing squad morale, and you said that morale in the squad would be off the scale at the moment.
After that point, yeah, I said it would be really, really buzzing. I thought that'd be pumped after Orient.
So I offered it out not just after Orient, but the last 3 games. Off the scale actually came third in this one. It was not too far behind average. 3/4 of people saying that they expected just slightly more positive. So on the first one, I asked if you understand why people don't always share your view. When you see things like that, when you can see all the positives, do you get frustrated that other people can't see that same level of positive?
No, I think, again, over a period of 3 games, slightly, more positive to the previous 3 games is absolutely right. I was referring to after the Orient game. I think they will be off the scale because of the week they had going into the game with all the injuries, playing a team that most people written off as going, it's going to finish like 2-3, maybe even 4-0 Orient, and coming away with something. Okay. I think they'll go back into the changing room going, pumped, we feel brilliant. Like I say, Minton, we sat there, a big stupid grin on his face. Britain only had 4 shots on target. I was expecting us to get peppered all game, So I was thinking they'll go into that game really, really quite confident that they can put a run on together because they played on paper the hardest team they can play this season, and they come away reasonably unscathed. So I'm thinking that was my off the scale came from, because I was thinking they'll be winning $1 million compared to the Sutton game where they would have been lower than the snake's belly.
Well, Rich, you were, as we know, you were at Orient. So the way the players went off the pitch, did you feel that the mood from the players would have been, again, to quote the phrase, off the scale?
No, because, it wasn't like we hadn't won anything. Like, we haven't done anything yet. We're still in the same position as we were pre-Leyton Orient. And since Scott Lindsay has left, okay, yeah, granted, we've got 2 games left in hand, but still, we should not be celebrating, even if we got into the playoffs. Okay, in terms of morale, okay, it wouldn't be off the scale because, again, we still haven't had a successful 3 or 4 wins yet. in a row. Like, he's 6 games in, Morris, and he's lost half the games that he's played. Do I think we should be? No, we shouldn't be jumping around yet.
Okay.
And I don't think the players have done anything different to any of the other games that they've been to this season. They've clapped the fans off, yeah. And I go back to the point where remember that Mansfield game when we won 5-2, and Scott Lindsay came over and he was punching the air and stuff like that. I don't want to be seeing that. Not yet, not now. Not 6 games into your reign as manager.
Okay.
But I don't feel as if the Swindon fans needed any belief, because we were singing, well, majority of the fans were singing the players off anyway, and clapping them and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, that's great. And that's the main thing at the moment. If you've got the fans on your side, that's the most important thing at the moment. And the players have said that. Minton came out and said it in his post-match interview, and Morris said that as well. So if the fans believe, the players will believe.
Okay.
So at this point, I don't think we should be over-exaggerating any terms of morale. I think off the scale is just no. It's
very, very, very good. Off the scale, I think it was a WhatsApp argument. I think
no. I think
really, really, really good.
I think the morale is content and good and positive, and that's as far as I think it should be. And that's the most I think it should be, because if it's off the scale, then we've got room to be, what's the word? To leak mistakes, because if it's off the scale, then that means we're overly positive, and then we're going into every game just thinking, yeah, we're going to win this game, like sort of thing like that.
Okay.
And we don't want to be like that.
There was just one more that we put up, and I actually found this one of our more interesting ones to discuss, Ben, where you described one of the reasons you were particularly positive at the moment is when you looked at the points per game table, and it actually had us in 9th. So we really only had 2 positions to make up.
Well, it's theory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because obviously we've got notice points, but I can't remember who posted it up on the WhatsApp group. Someone just posted. It was actually I might have been. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah,
so let me flash the score up first.
Because of the games in hand we've got with other teams. It brings everything a little bit perspective that we're not actually too far away. Though we still have to. They're only potential points. Yeah. Games in hands are potential. You've got to get them there. But
based on that, I asked the question: PPG has us 9th. Does that make you any more confident of the playoffs? Yes, no, or it's irrelevant. A fifth of people did agree with you. It makes them more confident knowing so, which actually surprised me a little bit. That's a lot higher percentage than I thought. No nearly got half of the votes, and a third of people said it's irrelevant. So that's argued, well, without question, the closest of the 5 polls we've had. Again, do you understand why people perhaps don't look at it the same way you do?
As an interesting point, because PPG has us closest to the playoffs than we actually are on paper. It's irrelevant. It is irrelevant because those points need to be won. So that's really the crux of the matter. It is irrelevant. I was just saying muting it as an interesting point.
Just in case we have another COVID season.
I was about to say that. Only Swindon fans would go, "Oh, points per game."
Hey, we won a league on that. And my season predictions, I gave on Lower League Look a little while ago. Liam will say this as well. I said Swindon will finish between 7th and 9th this season. So if we finish 9th, my prediction would come in.
I've possibly, and apologies if you think this is the case, Ben, I've possibly been a bit harsh in exposing our off-camera chats to the wider fan base.
I'm having to
I was
second
just
pen my
about-
statements.
I was just about to say, Ben, do you want to see the bullying and harassment policy? Because it generally feels
On this show, there is no bullying and harassment
Sure,
policy.
I'm glad I wasn't involved in that chat because I feel like we've just all ganged up on Ben.
So,
Poor guy.
the reason I say that is we have just hit the 2-hour mark, but would you guys like to end with a little bit of fun? Do you have time for a quiz? I mean, Richard's lights have gone off. He's ready for bed.
I'm done, boys. No, I'm joking.
I've been saving these for a little while. Mike has sent me a while ago some very interesting quizzes, and I'll do the shorter version for tonight, as we've already done the 2 hours. But what I'd like to know is how well do you know your goal scorers? Now, this isn't like the one we did ages ago with how many goals they've scored, higher or lower. Mike has gone to town. And Mike, if you're still, apologies, I hope you're still watching, Mike. Somebody else got involved in helping you prepare this because a lot, and I mean a lot of effort and research has gone into this. So there are two, but we're going to do the goal scorers quiz today. And the basis of this is, who was the top goal scorer for each manager? Okay. So, Ben, as you know, in case you do feel like you've been harshly treated, I'll give you the choice of, do you want to start oldest or start more modern and get further away?
Oh, right. Okay. I'll go modern.
You want to start modern and go further away. Rich is delighted. He feels he might get some early. Okay. Let's. So again, credit to Mike. I can't remember who else got involved. I do apologise. And if Mike is watching, and if not, if you, when you listen to the rest of it back, let me know, and I'll obviously send my thanks out. So we start with. Here we go. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much indeed, and to Richard as well. So you guys can work as a team if you like. Just see how many you can get right.
That might be easier.
So who was the top goals? I have the player's name and the amount of goals if you want to try it. Who was the top goal scorer under Lindsay?
Johnny
McCurdy.
Williams.
Johnny Williams is correct.
Yeah, Johnny
Well
Williams,
done, Woody.
Oh, we're going to start beeping or putting our hands up or something. Or
No,
shout out?
I
just
think we're just all
Team-wise.
trying to get him right.
Johnny Williams was Lindsay's top goal scorer with 6. Ben Garner.
McCurdy.
McCurdy, correct. 23. John Sheridan.
Brett Pittman.
Pittman's correct. 7.
that is criminal. Sheridan and Pittman. Didn't even mention their names. He's criminal. Should have scrubbed that one out,
Worcester's
Fyfie.
greatest striker.
Wellens. Doyle, correct,
Yeah,
with 25. The next one has joint top goal scorers. Phil Brown.
Theo Robinson.
No.
He must be
Not
close.
Mullen. Who else was it?
Was Mullin there then?
Mullen was there.
Norris.
Oh, what's his name? That
Wasn't he Norris?
Andy Williams, was that?
No.
Oh, what's
that
his
was
name?
way
He's that
before.
striker we signed. It was well old. Was really good for half a season and then completely went off the scale. Scored loads of goals at Northampton.
You are right, Ben. That's who it is.
Andy Williams.
What's his name?
No.
Craig's got one of them. Well done, Craig.
Oh,
I did think that would be, and I was-
Oh, it's going to rattle me now. I'm not going to think of the name.
Surname begins with R, Ben. It'd be one of our panelists' name if you add an S on the end.
Richards?
Well done, yes.
Oh,
of
yeah,
course,
Mark
yeah.
Richards. Oh, shit.
He was amazing for half a season and then
Forgot
start
about
the new
him.
season was awful.
Flitcroft.
That was Norris, wasn't it?
Norris, correct.
Norris,
12
yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
Williams.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Ooh.
Obika?
Nope.
No.
Was Painter wasn't.
Oh, that's
No.
far. You're far too far
Yeah,
away.
far
yeah,
too
yeah,
Billy
yeah.
Painter.
Come on,
I'm trying
buddy.
to.
Robert.
No.
Jose. Nicky
Jose,
Oh,
correct.
Nicky Jose. Of course it was.
20 goals for Williams. A Jose scored. Ling.
Nicky
Oh,
Jose.
very funny.
A Jose again. Well done, Ben. We got 6 for him as well. Cooper.
That was Williams.
Nope.
Smith.
Smith, correct.
Peter.
26
Mark
goals.
Smith.
Marcus
Yeah,
Smith.
Smith
Christ.
got
Do you know what?
26
He was
goals.
harshly treated. He was outcasted for months, and he's such a quality striker.
Wow.
McDonald.
McDonald.
Did we score any?
Ooh.
Probably saw like Aidan Flint or something.
Yeah, Amari Bell.
Yeah.
Now, let's put a bit of respect on Amari Bell's name. He weren't a bad player.
He's done well now. He's done all right now.
Is it going to be? Who's going to be? Andy
Is
Williams.
is he a striker?
It is a striker, yes.
Andy Williams.
No.
No.
Johnny
Who else
Beaker.
did we have?
No.
We had Miles Story, but it wasn't Miles Story.
It's going to be like Rossi Branco or something like that, isn't it?
No, it says
I've
it's
literally just
striker.
said it's a striker.
It
Oh,
is a
sorry, I
striker.
wasn't listening. I wasn't listening.
It's a name
Not the
striker
guy.
who was playing
Who the
back
hell
then.
did we have up front?
When was Cox? Was that
No,
Smith
before that?
Don't forget, McDonald was after
after
the Canio.
James Collins.
No.
It wasn't
Rooney.
James Collins.
Adam Rooney.
Rooney, well done,
Rooney.
Ben.
Oh, of
Ginger
course it was
Rooney.
Rooney
Oh,
scored
was that the
5
Collins?
goals in McDonald's
I-
reign.
I literally had to think there.
So then we go to Di Canio.
Alan Connell.
Nope.
Yeah, I had to.
No.
It wasn't. Ooh. Who scored the most
Andy
goals?
Williams,
Nope.
Was that not James Collins?
Nope.
Matt Ritchie.
Matt Ritchie's correct. 19
Oh, wasn't
goals
it?
for Di Canio.
Golden boy,
Okay.
Matt Rich. Was
Now,
Yeah,
bear
favourite.
in mind that Sheridan got no additional comments in his. The next one says, Hart, player's name, goals scored, shit emoji.
Hutchinson.
No.
He got 1 goal, didn't he? Or
You're not far off with 1 goal, though, Ben.
yeah. We scored basically no goals under him, didn't he? We
So,
didn't score
who
at all.
scored our basically no goals under Hart?
Hutchinson got 1 because we beat Brentford, and he scored no. And that was his 1 win.
He is a player whose name has already been mentioned on the list,
It can't be a Beaker. He didn't score.
and he hasn't been on
Taylor?
the list.
No, couldn't be. Did I say it? No.
I'm losing track of what season we're even in now.
So this is the
Relegation.
season we got relegated before Paolo.
Hart took over for the last 10
Is that
games.
2011 then, isn't it?
Absolutely.
2011.
2011, yeah.
Jonathan
yeah.
Douglas.
Nope.
'Cause he
So listen
scored.
carefully. It's someone who's already featured on the list.
So it's got to be a striker.
Oh, Matt Ritchie.
Matt Ritchie again. Yes, he got 2.
Yeah, because he was on loan from
2
Portsmouth,
goals.
wasn't he? Yeah.
So now, just to help Woody remember where we are, Danny Wilson.
Oh, Billy Painter or Charlie Austin.
Correct. It's one of them, but which one?
Charlie Austin.
Oh,
Charlie Austin scored
was
37 goals under Wilson.
He scored 17 goals the season we got relegated. We fucked off in January. 17, and we were bottom.
I don't think he fucked off. He got offered 1.3 million to go. I certainly wouldn't be turned back.
Before Danny Wilson.
Yeah.
Now, I'm surprised we scored this many under the manager. Never mind one player
Maurice
doing it.
Malpass.
Maurice Malpass.
I wouldn't even.
Cox.
Cox is correct. 21
Yeah,
goals he
Cox.
scored.
Shit.
He was shit up though, wasn't he?
Coxie was wonderful.
Sturrock.
Probably his son.
No, it certainly
No,
wasn't. I want to bet
So
one
many
top player,
missed.
Sturrock.
Barry.
Wasn't Peacock?
No, it wasn't Barry Corn.
Barry Core.
No, not Barry Corn, not Peacock.
Was
Billy
it not-
Painter?
Not Billy Painter then, was it?
No,
Yeah, Painter.
that
was around,
Coxie?
wasn't
Jack
No.
Smith.
no,
he? Anthony McNamee? No.
no. McNamee.
No, he didn't score many.
Scored about 4 goals.
I know.
Who scored the
No.
goals under bloody
Black-
Stoke?
There's only his son.
So whoever said Peacock, you were in the right sort of ballpark there.
Oh, right. Okay. I said Peacock.
I would have said Lee Peacock.
Drew.
Christian
Drew
Roberts?
Fallon was
Christian
Fallon there
Roberts.
yeah,
14
Christian
goals.
Roberts.
Yes, look at that list. Fair play to him.
Dennis Wise.
Dennis Wise. Start the season. Christian Roberts.
Nope.
Peacock.
Painter.
Correct. Peacock got
Peacock.
5 goals for Wise. Fyfie and Nora.
Fucking hell, man.
By the
How far
way,
back are we going?
love this comment.
Yeah,
Gorilla.
I thought, do you know what I thought, Gwella? I thought-
I'm warm.
love that. I'm fucking warm, bro.
Yeah, bro. Warm, bro.
And by the way, whoever asked how far back do we go, I'm going as far as Macari.
Oh,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's
get
not
bed
halfway
tonight.
there. We're not that far.
I want to
off
go to
now.
bed.
So, Enora.
Iffy, we got relegated. Top scorer Rory Fallon.
Rory Fallon, correct, 9 goals. Andy King.
Hold on, Ben.
So this will be
Danny
King
Invincible.
Mark II.
Did Mark II Danny Invincible?
Nope.
Parkin?
Peacock.
Parkin is correct.
Parkin,
73
yeah,
goals.
Of course, it was Parkin.
3 machine.
Joint top goal scorers for Roy Evans.
Oh, God.
Real runner.
He was shite.
Chris Hay. No, Chris Hay was. Was it Chris Hay? Was he around then?
It's
No.
not Chris Hay.
No, before then. Roy
We're a
Evans.
couple of years early.
We
Then.
brought some players in, didn't we? What's his name? Henderson.
Nope. He did get mentioned a minute ago. Is one of them.
Lucas Jukovic. No, not me. Him, then.
Lucas Jukovic?
He was Roy Evans, wasn't he?
No,
Jukovic?
not even
No.
close.
Yeah, he wasn't he? He wasn't that long after if he was.
He wasn't
Fallon.
2001.
Fallon?
Nope.
Oh, I know who it is. It's what's his name? Mooney.
No,
It's not Grazioli, is it?
it is Grazioli. He's one of them.
Grazioli, Grazioli.
He got 6, but who else got 6 that year? Oh, for that
Probably
matter.
Danny Invincible.
Danny
No,
Invincible's
Invincible's
correct.
Oh, was he? I thought he was an Andy King guy. I thought
Well,
he was pure Andy King.
Next, we go to King Mark 1.
Oh, that'd be why then.
Danny Invincible.
Danny Invincible's 1, yeah. Again, it was joint top goal scorers with 8 goals. Danny Invincible was one of them.
There will be someone King sold. Rory Fallon?
No.
Right.
What? Rory Fallon wasn't there.
Yeah, no.
So anyone else says Fallon?
I need to get my crossover right here.
Right, Andy King, Mark 1.
Invincible got 8 goals. Who else got 8 goals? Craig's getting ahead, so I'm not even looking at his comments.
I'm going to go with
Just block him, Fyfie.
Just blocking
Yeah.
for the chat.
fucking twat.
Craig, by the way, is scheduled to be hosting on Friday, and that's the only reason he's not on tonight. He said, if you still want me to host, I'll have tonight off. So next time he calls me part-time, at least I had something to do when I wasn't here on Friday.
Andy King, first time round.
Who
do
was
we know
Gary
who the second-
Alexander under?
Gary
Who's
Alexander
Gary?
is the other one. Well
Gary
done,
Alexander. He was a good play, he was. Yeah,
Ah.
Gary Alexander. Yeah.
I thought he was a little bit before. But
Now, Mike seemed, whether this is Mike's work or not at this point, he seemed a little bit surprised. But there's joint top goal scorers again for Todd.
Todd? He was in charge for 5 games. Colin Todd.
Terrible.
He wasn't around long.
Nick's not even guessing people. He's
I'm
just
not.
reacted to the managers. Oh,
Yeah.
he's terrible.
God,
Yeah,
we've had
Todd was
we've
bloody
had
awful.
some
We had
shite, haven't we?
So
it could be
much
Grazioli again, can it? Could it be Grazioli again?
No. Yes, Grazioli is one of them with 3 goals. But who else
3.
got 3 goals?
3.
Look at Nick's face.
Lucky now.
Had Chris Hay fucked off at that point.
Yeah, Craig Hay would have gone.
He had gone at that point, and he.
Nadal? No, Nadal would have gone. He would have gone off to quit.
Nadal? Oh, Nadal.
Nadal.
I got very confused then.
Probably be fucking like Michael Carrick or something like that.
If
No, it wasn't Michael Carrick.
If
Who did you say, sorry, mate? No, it wasn't Honora, no.
I'm never going to get him. It's going to be some obscure player that I couldn't fucking remember. Michael
4
Craig
goals. There weren't many
like that.
players that scored 4 goals under him.
3.
3. Oh, sorry, 3. Either way.
Initials are AR.
AR.
Not Alan Reeves.
Alan Reeves!
Says it all,
That
doesn't
got an
it?
exclamation mark in
Says
the
it-
No wonder.
Says it all. Says it all, doesn't
Oh,
it?
bless him.
Nick,
Do you
does
know
that tell you everything you need to know?
Colin Todd is
Absolutely,
supposed to be the
yeah.
chosen one to
God.
take us back to the promised land, and it was shit.
Couple more to go then, lads. Quinn.
Iffy and Nora.
Iffy and
Nora, correct.
Oi,
18.
oi, oi.
McMahon.
Finney.
Nope.
Finney.
Allison.
Allison, correct. 36 goals.
That's it.
Good shout.
Gorman.
Gorman.
Fjortoft.
Fjortoft, yeah. 28 goals. Hoddle.
Rich is just looking at the chat.
Maskell.
No, not
Wanna get
Maskell.
a-
Duncan Shearer.
Oh, Craig, you let me down.
Shearer, correct.
Yeah,
36.
fuck's sake, Craig.
Ardiles.
Ozzy, was he Duncan as well? Did he dunk?
He was. 46 goals. And Macari.
Let's before my time now.
Lee Barnard.
No.
Lee Barnard.
Nick, you'll know. Macari. Who was our top
I
scorer?
never saw any of those Vicari's games. It was the twin strike force he had.
Did he have
Can anyone in the chat,
But-
anyone still watching, help our guys out? Who
There
would
was a
have
bloke
been
on Twitter,
Lou
actually.
Macari's top goal scorer?
There's a bloke
Bamba?
on Twitter.
No.
Who played up
Steve
with?
White.
Who was the little
Chalky.
lad who played up front with Bamba? Then
Steve
Correct. Well done.
who was it?
White, 49 goals.
Steve White.
Oh, well,
Chalky.
oh, right.
Chalky. Forget about
Oh, I
Chalky.
forgot him. Yeah.
Well done,
Congratulations, guys. You did very
boys. Well
well.
done, boys.
I didn't like that. That was.
No?
I enjoyed that.
I like.
Well,
Well,
you want to know what? I would tell you what is on the second quiz that's even harder, but I don't want you to prep for it.
Assists. Top assists.
No, it's not
You
assists.
say top assist. I'm not here on Friday.
It's even worse. Don't worry, I'm not. I'm more than likely not here Friday either, Woody. So it won't be on Friday.
The 97 bookings of Darren Bullock.
So,
Oh,
gents,
God, he never
it's,
got a permanent suspension. I'll never
The
know.
people Sol Davis fouled.
it's been a pleasure spending Monday evening with the four of you, as well to our three special guests from the beginning of the show. As I said, Craig is scheduled to be hosting on Friday because I will be travelling down to Swindon because we have a very important weekend. More of that. Are we saying it now, Nick, or are we waiting until Friday?
Fuck it.
Well, you can say it now if you like.
Go on,
Say
mate.
it now,
You
and
take the
then
reins.
say it again on Friday.
Yeah, you take the reins. Let me put you on full screen as well.
Oh,
Give the
fuck
crowd.
me.
Give the crowd what they want, Nick.
Okay, this Saturday is a very special day for Fools Rush In, as we are the match sponsors for the Swindon Town game versus Carlisle. So we'll be there on the pitch, have a nice meal, watch a game, 3 points, and it's going to be a cracking day. So just hope the weather holds up and we will have a really enjoyable day. So Fools Rush In, match day sponsors on Saturday.
And we are very, very much looking forward to it.
Did anybody else feel like that was like goals of the week on Soccer AM when they get? And here is Nick to give us goals of the week, part one.
And
we got
I
that to
actually,
come.
I'm Nick.
That's another program.
Goals of the week.
and I actually think it'll be the most amount of Fools panelists at one game as well. That one.
I think it will. I just
so-
hope this weather doesn't. I think we're going to get the rain. We won't get the snow. We're going to get a fucking load of rain, though, won't we? I've been
That'll
checking
be
the
alright at the
Met
weekend.
Office every day now.
You're right at the weekend. It'll be fine.
That's right. You won't go
Gav
rusty.
saying
It'll be
nice.
fine.
Garth saying that's class. So yes, Fools. And Mike saying Harry's man of the match.
Oh, yeah. Throw him in.
I follow, closing in on you all. So yes, very much looking forward to that. In all likelihood, beer in the Legends after. Well, I mean, I'll be about. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
why not?
Carv, we won't be slumming it in the Legends.
Yeah. We'll be telling
Very
Jody where we either went right or wrong. That's what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Can't wait for Jody to get his coaching questioned by Rich and Woody.
I'm looking forward to that cheese board.
I'm going to be starstruck.
Anyway, enough
One
of
of my
that.
idols.
Enough of that. Thank you to our guests this evening. Thank you to our panel. And most importantly, thank you to those who have watched along, those that will be listening back, and especially those who have added the comments. We hope you have enjoyed tonight's show. Craig, as I say, is more than likely going to be hosting on Friday while I travel down to Swindon for the sponsor game. So he will take over the reins then. Until then, though, good night.
Take my hand, take my whole